I know. And then like I seen the account draining. And my Top Gun looks at me and he's like, we've been eating out a lot.
It's like, well, no, I just ate out once, but with DoorDash. It's a delivery fee, a service fee, a tip. I mean, every little fee they get. You and I would joke about our $60, 2 salads, $60. So the young kids are going to laugh at me because I have connected via a wire, and not like Bluetooth.
My 17-year-old will mock you.
Oh, I hope he does. Make sure he posts in the comment section. He has to subscribe and post to the comment section.
You're going to unleash a whole lot of unsolicited advice.
This is Conversations with Mike and Allie. I'm Michael.
And I'm Allie.
Do you know that I've never called you Allie until right now?
It's so interesting. There's like a couple groups of people. My name is Alyssa. My husband of almost 20 years started calling me Allie way back when. So his side always refers to me as Allie, but like my side, and not that I'm fighting over you, but I met you first before my husband did. Call me Alyssa. So this isn't surprising.
So we decided, at least I think we decided, that we're not going to necessarily reference by full name our spouses or children, if there are any. I don't have any children. You have one. And if I do talk about my spouse, he's a doctor, so I'm just going to call him the doctor.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. I have a couple options. I could go with the pilot. Actually, what I think I should do is Top Gun, because he refers to himself as Top Gun, so we can just call him Top Gun.
Oh, perfect. So listen, you and I laugh like lunatics on text all the time. And we decided a long time ago that they're worthy of being shared with the rest of the world. So this program is going to maybe bring that to light. We're going to share not what we've texted, but this back and forth would be a snapshot of some of the things we've texted back and forth to each other, or how we interact with each other.
And we get some good stuff.
We do. At my funeral, you've already have permission to go postal on those messages, and the eulogy will be comprised of a snapshot of all those texts at your discretion. You can pick and choose.
All right, so just so the ground rules are clear, when that day comes, I have no censor. Allie will not be censored. Correct. In any way, shape, or form.
That is right. And the doctor, I will let him know, cannot censor you.
Okay. Doctor is not overriding here.
Not at all.
Okay.
All right. So the three people listening at my funeral will have a good laugh. Let's talk about how we met. I read something, and this is not scientific because I don't remember certainly all the things that I read, the details of them all. But my understanding is, and it does seem to ring true, that every time you remember a fact from your past, it's not the entire story. Like every time you're recalling a memory, you're actually only recalling some of it, not all of it. And by the time time passes, that memory is actually not the real memory of what actually happened.
Very interesting. I didn't know that, but we're going to put that to the test. Yeah. I mean, so what I remember, we'll go back to the scene of the crime.
I'm already laughing.
So I was working as a patient rep at Brigham and Women's Hospital in Boston. You were working as a liaison or a marketing director at a long-term care company.
Correct. I was the marketing director at that time. I think I was just promoted at that point.
Okay. And I had applied for a liaison position. And I remember you coming to the Brigham. is where we conducted the interview.
Mhm.
And I'll pause there because is that aligned with your
Yes,
recollection?
yes, it does. You know, as a liaison, at these positions for anyone out there who wants to know what this liaison role is. So we would have nursing homes and we had nursing homes in certain parts of the state. And near those nursing homes were the primary hospitals where we were going to draw patients from to come to the nursing home. So the job of the liaison, in essence, not the whole thing, but was to essentially go to those hospitals and act like a sales rep with these individuals called, I'm already laughing because it's so ridiculous. Interact with these people called case managers, who are the gatekeepers, so to speak, of where patients who needed extended care um, would go. So these gatekeepers, case managers, would talk to the family members and the patient about their options. And it would be our liaison's job to convince that case manager to refer that person to us over our competition. And the way in which we would do that was walking around the hospitals, ferreting out all of these case managers they would each be on a floor or something and say, hi, I'm Michael, I'm from this organization and I have the best long-term care facility in the area. And you'd sort of have to butter them up a little bit and get them to like you so that you were their first point of contact. So that's why we were interviewing you to be one of those people, except not, because the position you were supposed to be interviewing for was what?
So it's a made up job name. It was a managed care marketing liaison, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right, exactly. And it never turned into that.
No, I'm not really sure what that still means.
I don't think it means anything. I mean, the industry, this was, by the way, I think, what I don't remember the specific date, but I'm throwing a date out there, like 1998.
Yes, I remember 98, 99.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. So your job, in theory, was to make sure that the organization had all the appropriate managed care contracts and contacts, and it never ever materialized into that.
No, but I think we should add why it didn't materialize.
that I need refreshing on. So do you remember why?
Well, I mean, it's not up to a liaison, which I think is the funniest term ever for liaison.
Liaison. It's ridiculous. The whole thing is ridiculous.
The whole thing is it's all one made up like fantasy world. It actually feels like I'm outside of myself talking about it because I can't believe that it was actually our reality for a short period of time. You a little bit longer, but be that as it may, like one individual can't negotiate with I'm just going to say a Tufts Health Plan or Blue Cross Blue Shield or Harvard Pilgrim on that level to actually get like a contract is really it's a huge level of effort, and it was way above my pay grade. So the expectation for me to go out and do that when they weren't already contracts in place was just absurd.
And then this absurd idea of taking people out, taking these cake managers to the Cheesecake Factory or taking them on. I remember setting up the company set up like a Boston Harbor cruise to take these people to dinner and to convince them that they should refer patients to us.
It even sounds ridiculous on paper now that I'm listening to you.
Can I just tell this story real quick?
No, please.
So you agreed to come on board, and then one day I said to you, okay, we're going to meet out in a small town called Ayer, Ayer. And I think cell phones just sort of became a norm in the business world at that point. And I'm like waiting and waiting, and your white probe broke down on the way to this facility, right?
That's correct.
Like
The
you're-
white Ford probe, a Ford, also known as found on roadside dead, which I didn't know. at
Oh,
that
yeah, I didn't know
time.
that either. That's great.
But yes, and I don't recall, Mike, if I actually had a bag phone. What you're referring to is like
Yeah,
it was
right.
so giant and it
You're right.
plugged into like the cigarette lighter in the
That's
car.
right. That's right.
But at any rate, I eventually got to air.
Yes. Remember like pulling into that dump?
Yes, I do. And I don't know if my recollections are correct. For whatever reason, I remember the parking lot being like all chewed up and almost like parking up like on a hill. Like I remember the probe on like being tipped, like it was very strange. And is that again?
I think you're I think there was a hospital in Boston that you're confusing this with.
Oh, okay.
Remember the hospital in Boston that you would be on the hill and the cars would be like tipping over and the parking lot was just riddled with potholes and the sign of the hospital, the name of the hospital was on the wall, outside wall, but the letters were falling off.
Okay, that hospital is now defunct, and I know what you're talking about. But literally the cars were like that.
They were like you didn't know how they stayed upright. And I think we connected from that point, is what I'm getting at. I remember going out to breakfast with you and the pilot, and we met in Framingham, and it was at a hotel with a brunch. That was the thing back in 1842 when you and I first started to know each other. And your son was in his little basket because he was just born.
Correct. Now, I had completely forgotten about this memory. Now I actually can see us pulling in the parking lot. I know exactly the hotel, the brunch. And yes, my son was an infant
Yes.
at the time.
And now he's just turned 17.
17.
And we knew each other prior to you. I knew you before you met the pilot. You knew me before I met the doctor. You've been with the pilot for 20 years, right?
Correct.
I've been with the doctor for 21. So it's just an incredible friendship.
It really is.
And we all got along instantaneously. You know, the pilot, your son, the doctor, we all just immediately, I think, got along. It was just like simple.
We did. It was effortless.
We appreciate you watching. Hopefully you'll get some entertainment, some laughter out of this, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Bye, everyone.